I have been working with this family narrative for a long time now, and as much as I try to get away from it, I keep circling back to it. I keep being drawn in. Many of the works that I make are centred on the story of my ancestor, Mary Smith. She was my great-great-great-grandmother, and she died in Augusta in 1832 at the hands of her husband. I don't always know when works about Mary are going to emerge. Some might come out of time that I have available to do research, and so a work might develop through reading that I'm doing, investigating a thread of information, reading through old letters and diaries. I've been playing around with pieces of seagrass that I've gathered, and they are marked and spotted with pieces of calcification. And I was arranging them, just playing with them to see how they felt in the hand, whether they broke down or not, how flexible they were, just sort of investigating their material qualities to see what I could potentially do with them. I then started using some Japanese paper twine and just started weaving them in small little bundles that were pleasing to the eye, and made a small collection of these little strips. They were almost like a disjointed fence. So I rolled all these individual woven seagrass mats into little cylinders, and then suddenly I had a big pile of miniature paperbark branches, which I loaded into my 3 vessels. I make works about Mary's story in waves, and these seem to coincide with when I receive information. And this information spurs on an investigation, an exploration of a process, the development of an idea, and more often than not, a symbol will emerge. And one of these symbols is the vessel, and this comes from a family story that said Mary was buried on Piggy Island in the middle of the Blackwood River when she died, to keep her safe from the dingoes. My investigations into the story of Mary began about 24 years ago, when I had my first son. I simply wanted to leave a family tree so that he would have information about his ancestors. My dad had always talked about my ancestors to me when I was a kid, so this is how I knew about my Mary. The story of my Mary's death was laid out in the Government Gazette 194 years ago. I know nothing of her life in London, but I know she must have been incredibly overwhelmed when she arrived here into this wilderness as a servant to the Turner family. Like all of those who disembarked from the Emily Taylor in 1830, they were vulnerable to the environment and the elements, but Mary was particularly vulnerable. Being able to come full circle and return here to Augusta and place these 3 little vessels onto the Blackwood River across from Piggy Island feels like a really lovely offering to Mary.